Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is the most off-road capable mid-size pickup truck that General Motors offers. This is the 2024 GMC Canyon AT4X AEV Bison. And yes, I know that is a mouthful. This truck on paper out-Raptors the Ranger and out-pros the TRD Pro Tacoma, but all of that really is on paper. Today I am at beautiful Barnwell Mountain Recreation Area just outside of Gilmer, Texas, where I will see where all those statistics and numbers on paper translate into reality. Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, first things first is I do want to thank GMC for bringing me this glorious pickup truck. Perhaps my favorite pickup truck to review, bang for buck, followed very closely by the Ford F-150 Raptor R, but we'll get into all of that. I really do appreciate GMC bringing this so that I can test it for you off-road here. I do have a full video on the channel already where I go into all the details about this as a pickup truck in general, but today I want to focus on what makes this so special off-road and why I love it just so much. Starting with under the hood. In the intro, I mentioned how this out-Raptors the Ranger, but that Ranger Raptor gets 2 more cylinders and 1 more turbo than this. That is right. This is a single turbo 2.7 liter inline 4-cylinder versus the twin turbo employed by the Ranger Raptor, which yes, does make more power. Here we get 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Of course, we get a 2-speed transfer case, 4 high, 4 low, automatic, and 2 high, so that you can select the right power delivery for the situation you may be in. And that is all mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission that in my over 500 miles of this on road and off has proven to be very capable. And so yes, the Ford does get 2 more cylinders and an extra turbo and more power to go with it, but that does add to a potential more opportunities for failure. So I don't know, is this more simplistic, single turbo inline for the more logical answer? We'll get into that as we get this thing moving. The other option that I mentioned in the intro is the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. That, of course, makes a very complicated mess of powertrain technology because it has a turbocharged hybrid 4-cylinder. So this, I guess, is the most simplistic of the mega off-road pickup trucks. Yes, you can still get a naturally aspirated V6 in a Jeep, in a Honda, and in a Nissan, but when it comes to mega off-road mid-size pickup trucks, you're really looking at these 3: the Ford Ranger Raptor, the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, and the GMC Twins. When it comes to styling, the AT4X is just a beast on the road and on the trails. This thing looks like a buff bodybuilder that may or may not be 6 foot tall yet, even though, yes, this truck definitely is. Like all GMC Canyons, we get a wider stance, but with the $10,100 AEV Bison package, we get 35-inch tall Goodyear Wrangler Duratrac tires that are Territory MT tires, sorry, Dura-Wall is the Dura on that. But then we've got all of the underbody protection. If you will remember, the last time I brought a GMC Canyon out here, it was the simple AT4 version, and one of my big complaints on that was the lack of standard underbody protection. One of the big things of this AEV collaboration with American Expedition Vehicles is all of the underbody protection. We'll get around to that here in just a moment. We do have a steel front bumper that is unique to this pickup truck. You can see our fog lights moved inboard. We've got red tow hooks, and then yes, all of that underbody protection, which again will be easier to see as we move around. 35-inch tall tires, which are the tallest that you can get in the midsize segment. If we were to go to, I would say a Ford Bronco Raptor, you could get 37-inch tall tires, but here we get 35-inch tall versus the Ranger Raptor's 33-inch tall tires. So yes, these are the biggest that you can get in the segment. Wrapped around these AEV specific wheels that do look really awesome in my humble opinion. I do love how they are not overly obsessed with wheel size. You can see here, these are 315/70 or 17s. So yes, 17-inch, not 20s, not even 18s. I very much appreciate that. As we move back on the vehicle, you can see we get that large AT4X badge there on the side. We get rock rails that run down the length of this vehicle, and at its increased ride height does make for a very interesting way to get in and out of this vehicle for somebody like my wife who is 5 foot. You can see they are body mounted, which I've complained about in the past, but they are weight rated. So there is that to know about. You can see we've got our frame right here, and then all of our underbody protection. We've got skids up front here. We've got skids going all the way back to the back. Fuel tank. We even have a skid for the pumpkin back here and the rear axle. So skids all the way around underneath. That is really what you're paying for when you get that $10,000 AEV package on this one. The X adds these DSSV Multimatic dampers on the front and the rear, though General Motors is still a little old school. Really the only major off-road pickup truck that still offers leaf springs. I do believe the Jeep Gladiator still does as well, but again, they don't really compete from the factory in this segment with the Gladiator just yet. You can get an AEV partnership on the Jeep Wrangler, but I don't believe they are offering that on the Gladiator just yet. As we come back to the back, just like up front, we get a special AEV steel rear bumper back here. And yes, this thing, steel, but we do have plastic right here. This is where the blind spot monitors are instead of being put into the taillights like some competitors. Very nice, very aggressive. And I'll go ahead and show you up underneath here. You probably already spotted it in the bed, but there is no spare back here. I kind of feel like this is wasted potential with the spare being moved up into the bed itself. I feel like maybe we could have gotten a bigger fuel tank. It's just over 15 gallons. So you will be filling this thing up rather frequently because in my time with this, again, over 500 miles, best I've seen is 15.7 mpg. And as we come around to the side here, yes, we've got some good articulation on this thing. A whole lot of fun, but I have just about melted back here. So if you want to know more in detail, in depth about this pickup truck, I do have a full solo review of it. This really is to show off what makes it good off-road and how that actually works when you get it into this type of environment. There are so many reasons I love this truck. I already showed you around the exterior and underneath all the things that they have done to really fortify this so that when you get out here, you're confident in what you've got to do and that the truck can actually do it. Now, this thing is perhaps overly equipped and protected for what we are going to do today, but I am going to stick to my normal test route. And I will go ahead and say, since the last time I've been out here, some weather and a bunch of Toyotas have definitely worn this route out versus what it has looked like in the past. If you are familiar with Barnwell Mountain, we're going down Twister. But I do want to talk about some of the essentials that you have in this. Again, 2-speed transfer case down here with multiple drive modes. I'm going to put it in terrain, something that I did in that regular AT4, and does allow for one pedal driving when off-road. I'm going to hit the car button and go to the cameras here so that I've got a good view of out in front of me and over top of me, and just making sure I'm not doing anything that I'll regret. But yes, going down our normal trail of twister, I'm going to go ahead and lift myself up and push myself forward a little bit more. The terrain mode does all of the necessary braking for me. So if you're used to two-pedal off-roading, it's going to take some getting used to the fact that you don't necessarily have to do that. It is a lot like driving an EV in that when you let off the accelerator, the brakes take over. And so that allow you just to kind of creep forward like you would in a two-pedal off-road situation. Still not perfect at it. Again, we did just get this pickup truck, but some extended time in this, and I feel like I would have the hang of it just right. And again, does open up this passion, this activity to a wider audience, just giving you better tools to do all of the things that you want to do. But yes, Twister is definitely getting eaten up just a little bit and washed out right back there. It is quite gnarly, just in how crazy it looks back there. And then this right here is exactly why I love mid-size pickup trucks. I really did love that F-150 Raptor R with its 5-liter V8 and the fact that you could put it in rear-wheel drive, which you can't in the TRX. But both of those pickup trucks are just so massive that in these tight East Texas trails, you just can't make it down it. Whereas even though this is a very big, very wide mid-size pickup truck, it's still a mid-size pickup truck and still does allow for you to get down some tight East Texas trails and maneuver a little more confidently. Now, I will go ahead and say here that I have not aired down those massive 35-inch tall tires, so there is that to keep in the back of your mind. I don't want to puncture them on some of the sharp rocks out here. And I'll go ahead and say right now, we have a locking front and rear differential. You may have heard the ABS system kind of kick in there for some traction control, but we're going to go ahead and lock up everything for climbing over this next part because we've got a lot of changing terrain underneath us that I just want to maintain forward momentum as best I can. Again, something I really like about General Motors, the cameras. The cameras stay on. I can be driving down the highway and leave these cameras on and still have the view all the way around me, though I don't really rely on cameras entirely because they flatten out everything. And had I not already done this route earlier in the day, taking it much slower than even right now, which I know might be hard to believe, I don't know that I would come out here without a spotter. I definitely wouldn't come out here without a spotter in anything less capable than this because I have unfortunately had to do that in some vehicles with that TRD Pro moniker that didn't quite live up to their name, and their running boards and skid plates and stuff were really the Achilles heel. But as you can see, we've got lots of pitch and roll. We're at 15-degree pitch, 7-degree roll as we come up and climb over some of this stuff. But with all that extra ground clearance, I mean massive ground clearance and articulation underneath this pickup truck, I'm not really worried about anything. Again, all GMC Canyons do get a wider stance than the base Chevy Colorados that share this platform. So we do have a nice wide stance, amplified even more by those 35-inch tall tires here on this AEV Bison version. So that is something I really like. And then we've got the, again, additional ground clearance and the improvement of those DSSV Multimatic dampers for making the ride in here and the contact patch a little bit more consistent, I will say. I am in 4-low with the front and rear locked up, so my maneuverability isn't exactly great, but we'll go ahead and reposition here and go over some articulation. I will say this is my absolute favorite thing to do in off-road pickup trucks, in off-road vehicles, hands down. I love slow articulation, and I know we don't have a camera outside the vehicle. We don't have anybody spotting me here, but I really do wish you can see what is going on underneath me as I go over what these dirt bikes are going over here in front of us. You can see from just how much they are jumping and moving exactly what this truck is going to articulate over as we climb some of these same hills and washouts. So again, I am in terrain mode. I can slow the vehicle down simply by lifting off the accelerator if I need to, but this thing is like a billy goat. It is just absolutely walking over everything, aided by the fact that, yes, I'm in 4 low with the front and rear diffs locked up. So really, there should be no slippage. There should be no problem here in this one, and I can say that confidently. There isn't. Now we're going to have just a little pitch and roll here, 13 degrees, 15, 16, 17 degrees roll. But yes, we can still just climb up and over practically anything in this park. I say practically, again, I've got no eyes outside the vehicle. There is a rock garden here that I would love to take this down and check it out. But yeah, that is some of my most favorite off-roading technical stuff that I get to do out here with practically every vehicle I take out here. Again, the last vehicle I brought out here was the full-size Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro, and sadly, I don't really feel like it lived up to that TRD Pro moniker. One last thing I do before I switch it out of 4 low and unlock those diffs is I take it down this little trail here. This used to be my favorite crossover test trail, but time, weather, and different vehicles have definitely adjusted this to where you need something about like this AEV version of the AT4X to get up and down it. I like going up it, I like coming down it. There's a lot of technical stuff going on here. You can see the terrain here in front of us. It's about to drop out from underneath us, so I do kind of want to watch my speed a little, just because we are going to dip off here in just a moment. Come on. There we go. Maybe. There we go. And then we can go forward. But again, in this, with those steel front and rear bumpers, the added ground clearance, I am not really worried about approach, departure, breakover in this. It really is just as capable as a billy goat. I know the Bison is the symbol of American Expedition Vehicles, or AEV, so that is why this is called the Bison, which, yes, is the strongest native animal to North America. But I really do feel like they could have called this the billy goat, because it does just an astounding job of climbing up and over everything. It is just so much fun and so very capable. And again, I have not even aired down yet, but we are going to stop, put it in neutral here. We're going to switch into actually 2-wheel drive. We're going to unlock everything, and we're just going to have a little bit of fun here. Turn off the cameras, and we'll go into off-road, which does leave me in 2-wheel drive. And then we're going to go ahead and put it in drive and see what those DSSV Multimatic dampers are like at high speeds. You know what? Off-road really isn't the right one. There is a Baja mode, so we'll go ahead and put it in Baja. It does still leave me in 2-wheel drive, but now let's see what that 4-cylinder engine under the hood and those Multimatic dampers help with at speed out here. So yes, this is still a pickup truck. It is still a big pickup truck, but those Multimatic dampers, which are essentially F1 style race technology, are doing a great job of, no, I won't say smoothing out everything, but making it less of a beating coming out here at speed and going over some of the rough stuff. And this thing is definitely still capable in many different situations. You can see just how quickly the terrain changes out here from sand to giant rocks. So I do have to maintain an eye and a brain on what the situation is around me. And unfortunately for my son, who is actually riding in the back seat, our mud puddle it's completely dried up. So no mud puddle back there to splash through, but we can go through some more fun off-road stuff up here and do some more jumps and articulation and stuff here in two-wheel drive in Baja mode. Again, you can see just how big some of these rocks are. And again, I will remind you, I have not aired down. I do not want to puncture a tire. I do not want to have to use that spare that is in the bed. Let's give it a little speed here and see what happens when the ground drops out from underneath us. Whoa! Oh, yeah! This thing will jump. It will get some air. That's about as far as I am going to push this thing while we are out here. So there you have it. A very quick trip around some of my favorite spots here at Barnwell Mountain, showing off some of the different drive modes and things that make this nearly $70,000 midsize pickup truck such a fun one to own, to experience, and get to pilot in all sorts of situations. And that brings me to, again, on paper, its two biggest rivals in the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, which you can spec out for the same price as this. It will not give you all of the Boron steel stamped skid plates underneath. It will not give you the DSSV Multimatic shocks. And it won't give you these massive 35-inch tall Goodyear Wrangler tires that we get in this. This really is the best bang for your buck when it comes to these mega off-road midsize pickup trucks. The other option is the Ford Ranger Raptor, which is definitely more of a bargain because you can get those in the $50,000 price range, which I'm sorry, can't here with anything AEV Bison from the Canyon, but again, also offers a little bit less when it comes to wheels and tires. And it does have a Fox suspension, but 33-inch tall tires on that one. So a little bit different approach there. And again, I've only gotten to take a quick spin in one of those, so I haven't really gotten to put them through their paces or take it on my standard off-road test like you saw us do here in this GMC Canyon. I will go ahead and say, yes, I am a General Motors fanboy. I have exclusively driven General Motors vehicles personally since I turned 15 years old with my grandfather's hand-me-down Cadillac. So yes, I am a little biased, but I will say these new vehicles from Toyota and Ford definitely aren't something you want to sleep on, and would be something worth cross-shopping against this, though neither one of them give you quite the presence on the road or on the trails that this AEV Bison version does. So there you have it. Would I take this one on paper over those two? Gotta say, yeah, I probably would. And I definitely would over that standard AT4 that we brought out here last year. That one just kind of let me down on the value proposition. For essentially the same price as a Ranger Raptor, you get a whole lot less off-road capability of that or this, and it just kind of left me wanting. This still has some of the shortcomings of that same pickup truck. The build quality kind of has me shaking my head, but they're things I'm willing to forego in a vehicle built quite like this that is just so stinking fun. On that note, if you want to see more from us, find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. Hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so that you can see Holly's thoughts on this pickup truck, just how much she likes this massive midsize, as well as get some more insight from my son Tucker on what he likes about it as well. Ring the bell so you are notified when that video drops. Otherwise, until next time, gearheads, bye. Here.
Daddy,
Yes, sir.
that jump actually made my bar ball jump out of my car seat and onto the floor.
All right, you need me to get it?
Yes.
All right, sorry about that,
And I
buddy.
think it popped it.
Do you think so? No.
Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you for letting me know. How you doing back there?
Good.
Let me